there was a couple of stats regarding nightlife. Let me see if I can scroll down to nightclubs. They took a survey of all the nightclubs in Lagos and the estimated market and how much was spent at these nightclubs. And the the resulting amount is staggering. Apparently, Lagosians and the IJGBs spent about 21 trillion 600 million naira this dirty December. Now, my question is, with the potential that this seems to have when it comes to people flowing into Lagos, especially in December, what can we take away from the economics of it that we could apply, and this is talking to the government as well, that could be applied across the entire year, from January to December? I'm talking about the tourism potential that Lagos holds, seeing what December is every single year.
Actually, I'm not very surprised at the results. I think that this city is a very energetic one. The nightlife space, particularly, is very attractive. There's a lot going on there. And I think that this is the time for the government and even the private sector to put the right resources in place, the right infrastructure in place. I think that this year we were a bit reactive and not proactive. And we need to be more proactive, you know, in terms of transportation, accommodation, the health care.
Who are you speaking to now? Are you talking which authorities?
I think mostly the government. I mean, obviously, they're the ones in charge of the infrastructure. But I mean, for the private sector as well, if you're a business owner, you know that you need to, you know, prepare towards December and make sure that you're setting things in place to take advantage of that, you know, that whole season. But for the government, I definitely think that we need to be more proactive. You know, I mean, we saw the traffic in December. It was a lot.
That was
I mean, there's already a lot of people in Lagos, and then imagine more people coming into the city. So you can imagine how much traffic there will be. But I think it's time for the government to really rise up to this and take proactive steps.
What were they coming in for exactly? And my question, I need you to understand this question now. How can we replicate it so that it's a constant thing? We don't have a beach line anymore, so that's gone. What were they coming to do?
I know, very, very interesting question. I think that there were a couple of things, right? I think, first of all, we've already established our destination, especially when it comes to entertainment, right? A lot of people want to experience Afrobeats in itself. Yes. You know, I mean, in the diaspora, you don't get a lot of that experience like that. It's like one-off. You don't walk into a club and then see Burna Boy. You don't want to walk into an event and see Whiskey. That's that's not something that happens in the diaspora. But in Lagos, you walk into Obi's house, there is Tyler, there's Thames, there's there's all of the global superstars. So people want to experience that. They want to see that.
That's very close to the stars.
Exactly. And I think that is, there's been a lot of migration recently as well. A lot of people, left the country. They want to feel home again. So they want to come back and just it's like a drug of some sort.
So
basically, it's very tied into the music culture, the entertainment culture.
Yes, exactly.
So entertainment is the one thing that we could.
Exactly. I would say specifically Afrobeats, because, I mean, Afrobeats is getting like global grounds. We have the artists in Nigeria winning Grammys. So, I mean, we have that global appeal already, right? And it's just for us to expand and take advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, not just the nightlife. Also, one of the things when people are coming in, they also need a place to stay. And we also saw the stats, for which really just opened up for businesses in terms of short-let apartment, Airbnbs, and even hotels as well, and also apartment booked. The numbers of apartment booked was about 1,900, and the estimated market for that was like 5,937.5. And it's crazy. The number of short-let agents were about 5,000. Let's just say occupancy rate was at 95%. 95%. And the number of check-in and check-out per day was at 35. That is wild when you think about it. 35% coming in and out a day. And so that's just in Lagos alone in terms of hotels, apartments, short-let, and the rest. Now we're looking at Lagos. But this thread by Kayode Omosebi, who unfortunately was supposed to join us, but he couldn't make it for the interview, he also highlighted other spots that this IJGBs were going through, and one of them was also Southeast as well. And so as much as we're centering Lagos, I'd like to also talk about the other states as Abuja, which is the capital, Southeast, Anambra, and people who are IJGBs who are from the east who also go back home. There's also Ibadan as well on there. So Detty December wasn't just in Lagos, was it?
Exactly. I think it's very important for us not to forget the other cities. I mean, like as a brand, we've also expanded to Abuja, right? I think that this is the time for these other states to also take that opportunity. I remember that we used to have Calabar Carnival. I'm not sure if that's still...
It's still there.
Well, not like what it was.
Not like what it used to be. And that could have been a good tourist attraction for the country. So
Before there was Detty December, there was Carnival in Calabar. People are just talking about it, talking anyhow. From that place, you should mind yourself, please. Yeah, keep going, talking.
So I mean, Lagos is doing so well right now, but it's something for other states to learn from. You know, build that infrastructure. Especially we've spoken about entertainment, right? Are there concerts outside of Lagos that needs to happen? I know Aresta had a concert in Abuja.
Yeah.
I think Rema also had a concert in Abuja. So what about other states? What about in the southeast as well? Are there festivals that happen within that period? And I think that there's also the storytelling side of things. These things might happen in those cities, but we don't know about it because the stories have not been told.
Right.
So I think there's also like a lot of work that government in those states needs to do in terms of just telling the story of what they have. I think that's what Lagos has done beautiful well.
Yeah, I mean, sustainability is fantastic when it comes to storytelling aids sustainability, right? But let's also take a look at something that that might hinder sustainability, and that is security. It is top on the agenda, right? As much as there are good stories of people who are enjoying themselves, there's also stories of those who were, mobbed on the way. There's also the story of kidnappings, in the southeast. There's also a lot that is happening with that. So I would ask about recommendations regarding, sustainability when it comes to security. But also there's also been skepticism about the numbers that have been put out. A lot of people on Twitter and X are saying that the numbers are not true, that we're just throwing out numbers. And do you believe this number? Have you looked at the numbers?
Yeah,
are they true? Do you think that they are close to hitting the mark? 95% check-in and out occupancy.
I think it's either accurate or over-accurate, if I can say that.
Why
nothing less.
Because we're smack in the middle of the ecosystem, and I see how places are booked out every time. In fact, most of the hotels, the top hotels, were booked out.
I mean, I hit you for something.
Everybody was booked out. I mean, especially if you're providing great service, people know that, right? So I would say that is correct. The data is correct.
The data is correct.
If not, even like more than that.
Definitely nothing less.
I don't think it's anything less. I don't think, and I'm speaking from experience.
Security then.
Yes. In terms of security, I think that obviously like government needs to do better. There are other sides to the infrastructure that needs to also be upgraded, like the beach line that you mentioned as well. Those are things that we need to give considerations to, right? Especially in future as we go into 2025. Yeah.
And I mean, there's also other attractions that we also need to discuss. I'm sorry to cut you.
Go ahead, please.
Other attractions that need to be discussed besides the nightlife, because and the parties, and the dirty and the strip clubs. And Mazula, did you see the money that was spent in adult entertainment on that thread?
I was well, you talk about it.
Why? We need to also consider that.
Could there be other side attractions besides just party and nightlife and JOB's house, which are, I mean, like,
they spent a lot of money at these kinds of establishments.
Yeah.
Are they a major attraction in Lagos? Is this something that we've always had, or did it just start? And how much of an effect did the coronavirus in 2020 have? Because we were way on our way to actually having these kinds of Decembers.
Before,
way back in 2019, and then the virus came through, and then we couldn't. So. I mean,
I think one thing we need to pay attention to is the fact that, like you mentioned, IJGBs, they're spending effects. They're not spending naira. So there's more purchasing power from their own side of things. So I think that's one of the factors to why, maybe the nightclubs made a lot of money. I would also say that nightlife in Lagos right now is taking a whole different dimension. It's not what you used to be before. I would also say, Time Out listed us as, one of the top countries for nightlife in the world.
Yeah.
So, and if you go to other cities in the world, we're getting to that. We're matching the standards, right? We are, because I mean the side attractions.
That's
exciting.
it's almost like Ibiza back again.
I'm telling you, it's exciting, and there's always
a
a new place. There's always something different. There's always something unique, and that just adds to the experience.
What are the ancillary economics around these side attractions? Let's say it's a concert, for instance. What other businesses around that one main attraction exists?
I think that we should look at the entire value chain of, you know, the hospitality industry. There's people who are providing different services across the value chain, right? So like you mentioned the concert, there's people who are providing the production, doing the production, doing the stage, doing the screens, doing the sounds. The people that are providing, you know, food, the people that are providing security, and all of these people across this value chain, there are opportunities. These are opportunities for us to explore, right? We're creating job opportunities, and I think that is something that, you know, needs to be expanded. I'm not sure that we've really like explored the different opportunities across that value chain. Yeah, but I would say like very important for us to pay attention to that.
Yeah. So look, again, besides the nightlife, besides the concert, you have seen the stats, right? And you are in the thick of it.
Yeah.
What other attractions need to be built on? Is it our art and craft? Is it our museum? Is it our, what other thing? Because
adult entertainment.
Is it,
because it's a money spinner.
Because I mean, there are money spinners, but there has to be more. You know what I mean? Like there has to be more.
I won't lie.
There has to be more.
Regulated.
Yes.
Because also we need to think about the fact that not everybody has the purchasing power for nightlife establishments.
Yeah.
So people are looking for, because we had a lot of people reach out and say, look, I'm looking for something fun to do, but within my budget.
Yeah,
right?
So
I mean, I can't take it 10,000.
There are also agents as well who can put together these experiences for people.
Exactly.
So what other attractions need to be, besides just the nightlife? You know, for I mean, there's still the very religious crowd. There's also IJGB that's coming back and don't want to go for the IJGBs house or want to go to the clubs or the adult entertainment, and they want to do daytime activities as well.
Exactly. I think that first of all, the beaches, right? That used to be.
That used to be a thing.
That used to be like something that, you know, was easy for people to access, but we need to bring it back.
I volunteer that as tribute. I say it again.
If there's any way that we can, Lagos has a beautiful coastal line. We can't just let that go. When we had Landmark, it was very impactful. We saw the number of people that went there every weekend. So I think beaches, we need to really, really like explore that. I think more water activities actually would also help. And making them affordable and accessible is very important for us to do. I think there's a lot of fun activities already existing in Lagos, but there's still more that we can do. I mean, there's zorbing, there is kayaking, there is paintballing and all of that. So, I mean, but there's a lot more that we can introduce. And this is the time for people in the private sector to really, you know, come and invest in the tourism and hospitality sector. I think there's a lot, we need to, you know, call this investments in.
What about other states as well?
I dare say that there's one aspect we're not looking at. And this is gonna surprise you, but in December and in the early week of January, it is noted that religious organizations take advantage to either end the year with big services that offer prayer. Well, you talk about it.
Why? We need to also consider that.
Could there be other side attractions besides just party and nightlife and the IJGBs house, which are, you know, Mondays, you know what I mean? Like,
they spent a lot of money at these kinds of establishments. Are they a major attraction in Lagos? Is this something that we've always had, or did it just start? And how much of an effect did the coronavirus in 2020 have? Because we were way on our way to actually having these kinds of Decembers
before,
way back in 2019, and then the virus came through, and then we couldn't. So. I mean,
I think one thing we need to pay attention to is the fact that, you know, like you mentioned, IJGBs, they're spending effects. They're not spending naira. So there's more purchasing power from their own side of things. So I think that's one of the factors to why, you know, maybe the nightclubs made a lot of money. I would also say that nightlife in Lagos right now is taking a whole different dimension. It's not what you used to be before. I would also say, I mean, Time Out listed us as, you know, one of the top countries for nightlife in the world. So, and you know, if you go to other cities in the world, we're getting to that. We're matching the standards, right? We are, because I mean the side attractions.
That's
exciting.
it's almost like Ibiza back again.
I'm telling you, it's exciting, and there's always
a
a new place. There's always something different. There's always something unique, and that just adds to the experience.
What are the ancillary economics around these side attractions? Let's say it's a concert, for instance. What other businesses around that one main attraction exists?
I think that we should look at the entire value chain of, you know, the hospitality industry. There's people who are providing different services across the value chain, right? So like you mentioned the concert, there's people who are providing the production, doing the production, doing the stage, doing the screens, doing the sounds. The people that are providing, you know, food, the people that are providing security, and all of these people across this value chain, there are opportunities. These are opportunities for us to explore, right? We're creating job opportunities, and I think that is something that, you know, needs to be expanded. I'm not sure that we've really like explored the different opportunities across that value chain. Yeah, but I would say like very important for us to pay attention to that.
Yeah. So look, again, besides the nightlife, besides the concert, you have seen the stats, right? And you are in the thick of it.
Yeah.
What other attractions need to be built on? Is it our art and craft? Is it our museum? Is it our, what other thing? Because
adult entertainment.
Is it,
because it's a money spinner.
Because I mean, there are money spinners, but there has to be more. You know what I mean? Like there has to be more.
I won't lie.
There has to be more.
Regulated.
Yes.
Because also we need to think about the fact that not everybody has the purchasing power for nightlife establishments.
Yeah.
So people are looking for, because we had a lot of people reach out and say, look, I'm looking for something fun to do, but within my budget.
Yeah,
right?
So
I mean, I can't take it 10,000.
There are also agents as well who can put together these experiences for people.
Exactly.
So what other attractions need to be, besides just the nightlife? You know, for I mean, there's still the very religious crowd. There's also IJGB that's coming back and don't want to go for the IJGBs house or want to go to the clubs or the adult entertainment, and they want to do daytime activities as well.
Exactly. I think that first of all, the beaches, right? That used to be.
That used to be a thing.
That used to be like something that, you know, was easy for people to access, but we need to bring it back.
I volunteer that as tribute. I say it again.
If there's any way that we can, Lagos has a beautiful coastal line. We can't just let that go. When we had Landmark, it was very impactful. We saw the number of people that went there every weekend. So I think beaches, we need to really, really like explore that. I think more water activities actually would also help.
Yeah.
And making them affordable and accessible is very important for us to do. I think there's a lot of fun activities already existing in Lagos, but there's still more that we can do. I mean, there's zorbing, there is kayaking, there is paintballing and all of that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but there's a lot more that we can introduce. And this is the time for people in the private sector to really, you know, come and invest in the tourism and hospitality sector. I think there's a lot, we need to, you know, call this investments in.
What about other states as well?
I dare say that there's one aspect we are not looking at, and this is gonna surprise you. But in December and in the early week of January, it is noted that religious organizations take advantage to either end the year with big services that offer prayers of thanks or prayers even before the crossover. You have plenty of people,
religious concerts,
you know, and all of that. So that's also another opportunity. And when you think about this, most of these happen late in the evening or all through the night. There's a security implication, there's transportation implication, there's all of that. So how about a look at these needs that these industries, that I call it the church industry, actually need, because it is an industry today, like we can have that conversation another day. But they also need these services as well, whether it's food, transportation, security, and all. What do you say to these?
Yeah, I think you're correct. I mean, events like the Experience will hundreds of thousands of people, right?
From across Nigeria, not just Lagos.
Exactly. Even in Abuja, I think there was another Christian event, crossover event, that I know quite a couple of people that came from diaspora that attended the event. I think it's also important for us to look into, you know, the religious activities that happen around that period. I mean, we're a very religious country, so people give considerations to things like that.
It's very interesting. I mean, and then to decenter Lagos, because every single day I think that one of my life goals this year is to pretty much is to
Explore
Lagos.
the-
You know what I mean?
explore the other
And I
states.
feel like, yeah, because I feel like other states also need to buy into this Detty December. And you are a curator of our tourism and hospitality sector. You've been telling stories and platforming this enterprises. What would you say to those states who want to buy and who should be looking to buy?
Storytelling. I mean, spotlight the things that are, the attractions in your city. Those things are very important. In Akwa Ibom State, they have beaches as well. Really,
Yeah.
there's Ibeno Beach there.
Yeah.
In Imo State, there's a huge water park there as well.
Yeah.
There's also this, I think it's a river.
Yeah.
Ethiopia River in Delta
Yeah.
State.
In Delta
so
State.
all of those places need to be spotlighted
There's
more.
Abraka as well.
Like, what is the government really doing to, pushing that out there, a lot more for people to see that it's existing.
Right.
I mean, obviously, I know that one of the limitations for people to explore those areas is security, like you said. It's security, like you said. I mean, you think twice before you get on the road to go to like a Delta state, right? And I mean, this is the right time to call on. I think if all this infrastructure are in place, there's no limit to where we can go when it comes to tourism and hospitality in Nigeria as well.
Yeah, I think it's very important. And I mean, lastly, before I let you go, what was the most fun experience for you for Detty December?
Ooh.
You gotta tell me.
Personally, I'm a concert person.
Yeah.
I love concerts.
Yeah.
So I would say the concerts, say Flight and Fest, because we had the opportunity to experience all of the top global superstars and international stars like Ghana, Tyler, just watching them do the thing, I don't know, it excites me.
Yeah,
so for me, I would say like, that's the number one thing.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of people, they wouldn't, I'm not sure a lot of people would re-echo what I said.
Yeah,
I think more people want maybe like the raves, they probably enjoy the raves or trying new restaurants.
Okay, now that's
something.
up my alley.
I know.
Right there. Yeah.
I think that's up, and there were lots of new restaurants opening up, in Lagos, a lot.
Goodness,
we haven't even finished exploring all of them. so I can imagine. I do know that a lot of people can relate with trying new restaurants.
I'm wondering, as a curator of these events and all these little experiences, which one of them stands out? And also note that there are some of them that are dying off. I will give you a very good example.
Please.
A couple of years ago, just before the coronavirus hit, we used to have a very big comedy industry. It still is big, however, not as big as what it was when you look at stand-up.
Yeah.
So what might be responsible for the death of some of these big attractions and the growth of others? Afrobeat for music and the international push that our artists are giving the Nigerian brand, and that's great. People want to come back here and see them firsthand. But when it comes to comedy, do you think that we fared badly in Nigeria in December?
I want to say
especially?
something so
I will
bad.
let you go ahead and say before she answers. Before she answers, go ahead.
Let her answer. Let her answer first.
Go ahead. Do you think that some of these units of entertainment are dying off, and what's responsible?
I think this is a very deep conversation.
Yeah, I know. It goes into so many different little...
Yes, because first of all, I mean, you need to look at the comedy industry in itself. What is the structure like? Do they have that structure? I feel like music is probably...
Do they have cabals?
Maybe, I don't know. Have they put that structure in place for their industry to thrive, regardless of the challenges? And I think that's something that the music industry has successfully done, right? I mean, you can see the Maven records, for instance. We have labels that are, structured, that are properly put together. The comedy industry, I'm not so sure they have
Too
something like that.
individualistic.
So I think that for those other experiences, they need to get their acts together really and really fast. Coronavirus, I would say, was a huge opportunity. A lot of people would have seen it as, maybe a challenge, but I saw it as an opportunity because by the time the world opened up, it was the guys that were strategically positioned that took advantage of it. And the ones that, they just relaxed because of coronavirus, they didn't know, they were uncertain about things, they were the ones that, got pushed away or pushed out, right? But if you're operating in an industry that has, proper structure put in place, I'm not sure that should affect you much. You should be able to project and see these things and take advantage of it.
So I'm gonna piggyback off what you said because you really hit the nail on the head. Structuring their sector, but most importantly, if you look at the comedians in the US and the UK, the ones who are comedians and who are at their A game do not perform at any chance. They have their specials, they have their performance nights, they have times where they really go back and they craft their game and they come back, they do their comeback. They take the business seriously.
Seriously, yes.
What these other comedians are doing instead are doing cheap jokes. They're not funny, they're not intellectual, doesn't get you to actually sit down and think. That's one. Two, they think that they are skit makers. You know what I mean? Like they think that they are skit makers. And so the skit makers who are actually funny are there. Those guys are acts, they are acts. But when you're a comedian, you have to go back, improve on your writing skill, understand that I am a brand as a person, and so I have to start to think about platforms that I want to do my comedy. I want to see a Basketball special on Netflix.
No, well, I think he's.
Do you know what I mean? I think basketball
has
has really done really
You know,
well.
I mean,
And there's that standard that needs to be created.
For that industry.
Take it away from Netflix and bring it back into the application for tourism or attractions here in Nigeria. Not just in December, but all through the year.
So,
how has comedy or the lack of it played in?
They haven't
the scheme
improved
of
on their
things?
material. I'm going to say it again. They haven't improved on their material. They have cheapened the material. They have dumbed it down so much. And also, they think that they are music. And this is not to say don't diversify, don't put yourself in a box. Diversify, not to box you all. But if you're a comedian, please improve on your act. Please improve on your material and also build on that brand. That's what I'm going to say.
So comedy wasn't an attraction this December, was it?
I'm not very certain. Because the truth is,
it's a global stage. It's a global audience you are entertaining.
And we used to have it, like you said.
Yeah.
I think the only one major comedy show we had was Alib Baba's show.
Which is consistent.
Which has been really consistent. I think also consistency is also very important. You know, there's the comedians that you see them today, tomorrow you don't hear of them, or next tomorrow they've relocated. So there's all of those different factors.
If you attended the January 1st one, look, I adore Alib Baba, no questions asked.
No, don't do it, don't do it, Judith.
So
don't do it.
let's remove Alib Baba. If you've been to any of the comedy shows, before the main act comes out, it is widely insane that you're coming out at 3, 4 a.m. in the morning.
So let's talk about culture.
And then, that's why I said that. So you are bringing all this up and coming that I don't know about, that the material is whack, for lack of a better word, and I'm being very nice. It is whack. You're bringing, and I get you need to platform these people, but maybe do it at a comedy club. Not on a
which are existing.
these are existing.
We have comedy clubs.
and then he does this thing.
I think that the new cats, if I can say that,
like,
are the ones that I would say has that opportunity. They have the opportunity to help that comedy industry, the new guys.
To package it.
Yes. Because they're more,
purchase.
Exactly. Because I think that they're more exposed. They're also building because I know about a comedy club. I think it's called. I can't remember what it's called now, but there's a comedy thing that happens at one of the lounges in Lagos. Yeah. And I see lots of young comedians there, putting in effort. And I think that if they can come together and create standards for that industry, I mean, they can compete with the music.
Okay, so let's talk about when all the music stops, when all the roads are littered with red cups and all of that. Let's talk about January and the vacuum that is created.
Is that
the debt,
the dry January.
the dryness and everything. What does Lagos, or in your experience, what does Nigeria go through during these months that takes a very sharp, steep dip in economics, in the economy of entertainment?
I think a smart business person would know that January isn't,
popping as December.
Exactly. So it just takes planning
90
ahead.
days long.
You have to project. You already know that. Look, do your plus and minus, right? I think that a smart business person should know to do that. You don't put all your
eggs in December.
In one basket, yes. If not, you want to run your business to the ground, right? But I mean, regardless, there's still, I think some IJGBs are even still around though. So there's still some little festivities happening. Like in the beginning, in the first 2 weeks of January.
So there's still that effect way into
January.
it
still trickles into, of course, there's people that came in at the end of December.
Yeah.
So you can still, pluck some of those opportunities and those people well into, say, mid-January.
In plucking those opportunities, the small businesses that actually thrived in December and January, what could they do to maintain at least just a little bit of that pool? Even if the IJGBs are gone, the local market, what do they need to do to maintain that glitz and glamour of December?
I think it's just regular engagement, right? At the end of the day, the IJGBs will leave. So it's just going to be us and your business, right? And that's the reason why, I mean, you'd notice that in December, you'd hear like, oh, this restaurant didn't do this, or they were fully booked, or you know. So because, I mean, obviously, like there's that influx already. But a good business person would know that at the end of the day, it's your loyal customers, the ones that are here, that keep you in business, right? So you need to continue to engage them consistently. I mean, make them happy. Customer service is very important as well. I think that's something that you need to consider through the rest of the year.
There's one thing that hit me hard during this Detty December is that the foundational Lagosians like ourselves.
We didn't get to do.
We didn't get to do anything. It's like they relegated us to the side. It's like go and sleep, you know. And it's like as you're driving, you know, as you're going about it, it's like get out of my city.
And then your friends that they're from the IJGBs, they call you and say, oh, let's go out. And they're like,
where do you want
working?
No, you know. So I mean, for foundational, you know, Lagosians, I saw somebody on Twitter was saying that. I think that coming into December for this year, 2025, Detty December for 2025, season 2025, anyone who's foundational Lagosian should start start pushing for remote work and leaving Lagos.
Right.
Do you take that advice?
I would say that. I would say that because the traffic is not funny. Look, it's not funny. And I think that we've curated, Detty December has now become more a tourist thing rather, I mean, obviously Lagosians can take advantage of it, but I would say primarily it's driven by tourists.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not complaining, to be honest. What you can do is take advantage of it and ask yourself, what service can I offer this tourist, right? That can make me money, right? I think that's something you need to consider. And if you're not making money, maybe you should.
I like when you say that, but then that creates a vacuum because if your business is structured to service tourists, what happens after they're gone in February? Now, there are businesses in Lagos, and I can tell you one down the road, the Shrine is always full every single Thursday and Friday. So what can they do?
Sundays?
And Sundays as well.
Sundays.
So I'm wondering what Lagosians can do that could be a replica of what the Shrine does in Femi Kuti, and that's fantastic service that they give, that could maintain that influx of people, foundational Lagosians, that could keep these businesses going. I don't know what it might be, but they are doing something right. But what is it that could be applied to every kind of, whether entertainment or cultural business?
I mean, New Africa Shrine is a legacy on its own.
That is it.
So I don't expect anything less. Right, it's not the place that you'd go and maybe everything is like lush and you know glamorous. No, it's very
very Shrine.
Very homegrown. You can say that. So you know that it's not about the ambience or anything. It's about the music, the real essence of what they are providing. Exactly. And that's when you go there, you can feel it. Right, but again, you know, there's also the legacy that fella, you know, had built in the past. So I think for other businesses, like I said before, customer service is very important. I think that's one thing we're lacking in this industry. In tourism, hospitality, you'd see people talk about it every time. Even the IJGBs that came, they kind of complain about the service. I think we need to pay attention to that, and that would help you sustain, you know, that customers. I only go to places where I feel like I get served well. I feel welcome. I feel like it's warm.
I got my spots.
Exactly. So I mean, when you go somewhere you don't have a great experience, you don't want to go back there, right? And